All right, here we go, trimester 2. First thing we want to do is set up our brand new science subject. So energy and climate is our brand new topic for the trimester. So to get your subject in here, remember you're going up to the plus, subject, then you're going to call this energy and climate. So it should be the fourth thing in our divider. Okay, so get that set up, pause if you need to make that happen. Otherwise, in your Schoology, you probably noticed in your Schoology, you now have a ton of classes. You have your trimester 1 classes and trimester 2. So find that brand new trimester 2 science. It's got science B on there. And we're working today on this, energy and climate engage. Okay, remember the point of these is just to get our brain moving in the right direction of our brand new topic. So some of these might be challenging questions. Just do your best, right? Do your best and record what you're thinking about in the moment related to this stuff. So go ahead, put this in your brand new Notability subject. And this is what we're looking at. So feel free to pause as we're talking through this activity so you can complete some of these prediction questions and then submit hopefully today when you're done. So activity 1 here, we're thinking about how the surface of the earth impacts temperature, because we know temperature is an important part of an area's climate. So in class, what we did was we had 2 surfaces. We had a light surface, which was a white fleece sweatshirt that I brought in. So we had a light surface of white colored fleece, and then we had a dark surface, which was a black colored fleece. So record in what those surfaces are. And then what we did in class was we took their initial temperature just sitting there on our desk. And so the initial temperature in degrees Fahrenheit was 75.8 for both of them. And we turned the lamp on and we let it sit for a long period of time, and then we recorded the final temperature at the end of the period, which I'll share with you when you come back to school. Or if you message me, I can share what that is with you. And then we calculated change in temperature by, of course, just doing a quick subtraction, right? But here's what the important part was. It was this, thinking about what might happen, a predict. So you can go ahead and do this now, pause it to fill it in, but you think either the light surface or the dark surface will have that larger change in temperature over the 30 minutes that light is going to be shining on it. So fill in light surface, dark surface, and then of course the most important part we want to see is the because. What is your thinking regarding that? So pause and get that filled in. I think the light or dark surface will heat up faster because. Second thing we did was talk a little bit about climate versus weather. So we talked with our brand new groups, which you'll meet soon, and we just recorded in what comes to mind when we hear climate and weather. And so we challenged ourselves to come up with 2 ideas for each of those sections. So fill in the bullet points, just 2 things that come to mind when you think climate versus weather. Again, go ahead and pause so you can get that done. And then we did a little class definition. So climate, we said, is looking at averages long term. And for climate, we need to have 30 years of data in order to determine a climate. And what we're looking at is 2 atmospheric factors. We're looking at temperature and precipitation. So looking at those 2 things over a long period of time, 30 years, we can determine what a climate is or if it's changed at all. So climate can't change overnight, long term. And then we also said this happens over a large area or a large region. So like we said, there's not a Rosemount climate. Okay, we have a Minnesota climate or a Midwest climate, but it's a large scale area. That means, of course, weather is going to be more short term. Right? And if you think about the weather app, or like when you see the weather on the TV, we get a short idea of what's coming up. 7 to 10 day prediction of those same factors: temperature and precip. And weather, we of course know, is pretty localized. So Rosemount can have a certain weather pattern that might be different, or amount of snow, or different degree than like Apple Valley or Lakeville, even though they're close. And then finally, we did this again on our own. Details that impact climate. What are some things that make climate what it is? What are some things that can determine the temperature of or precip of a region? So what can determine that or change it? And same thing with weather. So just an idea. Go ahead and pause and fill in that table. Part 3, you're checking out this video. We really only watched the first 30 seconds, and we didn't watch it with any sound. We just looked at what was happening. We made an observation about what we see, and then we tried to explain why that was happening. So in class, we watched that first 30 seconds 4 times, and we just recorded in what we noticed, and again, why we thought that was happening. And this might be a challenge question for you today. That's okay. You're just thinking about why that might be going on. The only wrong answer here is an empty one. And then the last section, activity 4, we did this totally on our own, but we had a short introduction here. So make sure you read this carefully, thinking about what is an ice age. It's kind of our focus. And then you're looking at this table here. A few ice ages are listed. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of course, those are times when the temperature drops and the Earth kind of went into this ice zone. Okay? You have these ranges of time here that are showing the ice age. You're going to use those dates to fill in the data table down below. So you're going to use those dates here. I already did the first one for you. And then once you figure out the dates, then you want to figure out, well, what's happening on Earth at that time. So this first one, 2,400 to 2,100, that's right in this range. So I picked one of these events to record here in my table, what's happening on Earth. So once you find the dates here, find them on your rainbow chart and decide, oh, this is something happening in that window of time. And what is the era in geologic time that we can record? So do the dates first, what's the event, and what's the era. And then finally, a couple just reflection questions. Again, getting a lot of questions about this one today. You've got to get something down. Okay, so maybe you don't know the exact answer, that's all right. Just think about what might that be based on what you're thinking about right now. As always, message me with any questions, and I'll be looking forward to your submissions soon.